Powers of water, powers of light, powers unite, because the Rangers of Aquitar have arrived as part of the Lightning Collection. I have to say, for a line that staggers team member releases often over years, it can be weirdly satisfying to be able to complete a team all in one go. That's exactly what Hasbro have allowed to happen with the Mighty Morphin Alien Rangers 5-pack in summer 2023. Originally introduced as part of a 10-part miniseries that aired over just 2 weeks during February 1996's end to the third season of the original show, the second ever team to be added to the Power Rangers franchise expanded the literal universe by giving us a team of ninja-ish themed water-guzzling Aquitians from the planet Aquitar. The suits were lifted from the Super Sentai series. Mighty Morphin had been adapting the Zord footage and Monster of the Week from Ninja Sentai Kaku Ranger. As a kid, it was definitely interesting that this 5-man team's colours actually directly correlated with the Shogun Zords, which the Alien Rangers tended to control alongside their individual Battleborgs, which were also weirdly similar to the Shogun Zords. But yeah, when you know, you know. And that source footage, those are the proper Zords of that team from the Japanese original. Fingers crossed for Zap, Battleborgs and Shogun Zords though. Also, it was very weird that once Shogun Megazord was summoned, Alien Rangers were shown going into the Shogun Zords, but they were never shown in the American cockpit for it. They just turned up the music and had more quips from the Monster of the Week. Anyway, not important. What is important though is that this set gives us what I count as our 11th complete team in the Lightning Collection so far, with 2 more still to be completed in 2023 with Lost Galaxy and Dino Thunder. So we're getting through them, and yet this is definitely a somewhat surprising choice of release. Still, when there have been so few Alien Ranger figure sets until now, you have to appreciate Hasbro taking a spin at it, and of course trading off that lucrative Mighty Morphin branding. They even managed some Aquitar Rangers, though actually fewer than I expected, in the 30th anniversary special. So here we are with our latest full team, and though they may have all come in one box, they're still from 2 schools of thought. So let's dive in. Get it? Water reference. With 5 things about the Lightning Collection Alien Rangers, or Power Rangers of Aquitar. Number 5. Give them a hand. When I think of the Alien Rangers, one of the more prominent things I think of is them doing their weird hand signature poses. It's disappointing that we're missing signature pose hands, and the hands we do get are inconsistent across the team. All 5 Rangers get a set of grip hands, but then 2 of the 5 have punching hands. 2 of the 5 have more open style hands, and 1 has your traditional karate chop posing hands. And because this is a team where the gloves are the colour of the Ranger, they're obviously not going to be interchangeable. The colours, by the way, are very nicely chosen. The Lightning Collection lately has been straying into what I would call the cheaper end of the colour spectrum, as exhibited most egregiously by the Yellow Ranger figures, I would say. The original series suits now appear much darker compared to what's been coming out from other teams more recently. But it's cool that with Alien Rangers, care has been definitely taken to colour match them to their on-screen hues a bit better than what we've been getting. Overall, I like it, but I do think blue sort of leans more towards the cyan colour than the one that Hasbro have chosen. But again, if you compare it to the various other blue Rangers we've been getting in Lightning Collection, you can see they have made a good effort here. Back to those hands, they don't have the best grip on the swords, which is a shame, as the swords are their most prominent feature. At least with the hands you do get, you can sort of repeat their sword and holster grab pose. So yeah, not bad, but as it's unlikely we'll get many more figures in this style and in these shades, it would have been nice to have had extra hands, you know, like they did with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle figures the year before. Number 4. Heads up. Speaking of what's missing, the Lightning Collection has been consistently inconsistent when it comes to civilian portrait heads. Unfortunately, this makes for our 3rd team after the Psychos and SPD A Squad not to get a single one. A shame, as they would have been quite cool, though having meticulously scrubbed through the miniseries on YouTube ahead of this review, we don't ever see the Alien Rangers in suit with helmets off. And actually, having seen a mock-up, I'm not convinced it would work anyway. So this is unusually a headless swerve I can understand, because unlike regular teams of Rangers in the show where we do occasionally see them in suit but with helmets off, the Alien Rangers never did, and it actually would make more sense to one day get another 5-pack of them in their alien civilian forms. That's a way of doing it, I guess. Perhaps it didn't make sense to show them like that. Perhaps more likely the Alien Ranger actors never actually wore the suits on set, which were obviously on set in America because Billy and various other US actors are seen alongside the suits. But I bet it was just stunt performers inside them. I mean, it kinda jives with the 10th anniversary where Oriko, the Red Alien Ranger, only appears in suit and never demorphs, plus their suited only appearances that you also get in Power Rangers in Space's Countdown to Destruction and Super Megaforce's Legendary Battle. I'm guessing the alien headgear was a bit of a headache for everyone, from the actors to the production team to the toy manufacturers nearly 30 years later. So no heads, but on this occasion it makes sense. Ooh, it kind of pains me to say that. Number 3, what's my range again? An interesting time we've had over the last year or so in the Lightning collection, as Hasbro have gradually been transitioning to pinless joints for the figures. It's definitely had its share of turbulence. I've actually been put off reviewing my Dino Charge core team because of my disappointment in the Coda Blue Ranger figure. But don't worry, they're not getting off the hook. The seething criticism is definitely there, it's just bubbling while I find the right words. So we've been getting a bit of both lately. The newest Yellow Ranger figures from SPD and Lost Galaxy both have the old style pins, whereas the MMPR Yellow Ranger before that, Remastered Trini, that was pinless. Some waves have had combinations of old and new styles, and that trend is continuing with this team because all 4 males use the original body mold of having pins present in the arms and legs. Delphine, as the only female member of the team, has the new pinless female mold. I'm not sure what happened here. For the sake of one figure, I think I would have preferred them to just all have pins to help them match a bit more. Turns out even a complete team box set isn't safe from Lightning Collection disparities. Does it harm your experience of playing with figures? Well, I would say no, luckily. They've given the pinless to the female mold because arguably she stands to gain the most from it. Better elbow articulation to finally meet what the default males could already do from the beginning, and a bit more leg movement to retort against the constrictions of the white skirt, which they have given 2 big slits on either side to help with side kicks too. Delphine's big advantage over the boys is having a little more range of motion in the helmet tilt, but I mean, it's pretty nominal, isn't it? What I will say is, though they have used 2 schools of thought in the body mold, the detail is much better than we've been getting. There's actually only hairline issues with mine, and I wouldn't even feel confident asking for an exchange based on them. This might be the first set from Vietnam to actually be okay. Number 2, Sidearmed. I think it's worth mentioning the weapons you get with these. Obviously the Alien Rangers weapons in the show were their swords. They use them basically every appearance, and here they're given equal care as each sword even gets to carry the symbol for that particular ranger, and it matches their belt buckle and shape of helmet symbol. My Red Ranger symbol is slightly off center on his belt. I am going to keep this set though because, not awful, and you never know, if you do play the exchange game, you might end up with a far worse result. The box artwork actually shows an alt version of the blade blasters that you don't get included. What goes in their holsters? These little blasters. It's okay, but it does look a bit strange to have the handles facing forwards, and yes, I looked, and yes, that does seem to be the way they're supposed to go. Except obviously the handle should be slightly folded up more. The Rangers also include their weird but cool little dagger things, an artifact from Kaku Ranger that didn't make the transition over to Power Rangers, possibly too pointy. So the knife things are fine, it's fun that we get another sidearm, though the sword steals the show in that respect. And they're all nicely painted in multiple colours, and unlike say SPD or Dino Charge where accessories have changed over time, here they're all one big batch, and so luckily match. Some people have wondered why the Alien Ranger signature weapons aren't included, reason being we don't see them in the show, at least not over on Power Rangers, so they were an easy cut for Hasbro. Overall, for saying the Alien Rangers are never shown to have signature weapons or even a finishing weapon for the team of any kind, Rita and Zed would always make the monster grow before the Rangers could destroy it. It's a good showing of accessories, just a shame that the box hates them, is ultra cheap and has bent and warped several of mine in their gross sellotaped down paper baggies. The box is so low quality, I really hope we don't get one like this again. It pales in comparison to how nice the Psycho Ranger 5-pack box was. The only bit that's actually alright is the custom artwork, and the cover art is actually fairly neutral on whatever your access point is for these suits. So if you are from Japan and you only want Kaku Ranger action figures, you don't feel like it's too plastered in Power Rangers branding stuff. And number 1, Collection Rehydration. Yep, I've tried to shoehorn the Alien Rangers' eternal obsession with hydrating into the name of this one, but what I'm getting at is how cool it is that we have these. Until now, my only Alien Rangers were the key set from Super Megaforce. You may remember ages ago I talked about how not buying the original 4-inch figures and the original Battleborgs was one of my big Power Ranger regrets. They were basically the only way you could get them, and they weren't even in scale with your Automorphins. They only scaled against the bike figures, which were never as popular anyway, and then they just blew up on the aftermarket because they were available for such a short period of time. Naturally, their value kind of ballooned because so few people were even aware they were a thing. Now though, we finally have 6-inch consistent scale Alien Ranger figures, and what's cool for Kaku Ranger and even Gokaiger fans is that we also have a basic Ninjor, so he can even go with them and give you that Sentai Kaku Ranger display. Yes, I know I've said the wrong name for what he was in Kaku Ranger. Power Rangers fans don't have to feel left out though, because you can recreate Rangers of Two Worlds and put them alongside the team from Zeo. And while it never appeared this way on screen, technically in our continuity there were, for a while, 2 Mighty Morphin teams operating independently at the same time, so you could even put them alongside your main team. And by that logic, they continued on following the events of their own miniseries, so you can put them with other Rangers that explore the cosmos, like In Space, Lost Galaxy when we get there, etc, etc. Cosmic Fury? Potentially. They're this weird flash-in-the-pan, yet everlasting team who were around for such a short time that the show never even had time to write them out or say their powers were destroyed or lost like they normally are. They're in a way the first constant team of Rangers, a bit like how Legacy Rangers are presented now, as always being in action. Kinda cool. And Oriko obviously gives us another Red Ranger closer for those wanting to get a 10 Red Ranger Forever Red display. Just Lightspeed and Wild Force yet to be announced before we can complete that. The Alien Rangers fought Tengers, Cogs, which we obviously have toys for both of those. They also fought Piranatrons during the In Space finale and lost to them. Embarrassing. And presumably that's another henchman that we'll eventually get now that we're getting into the Turbo figures. In sum, Alien Rangers are a niche but very cool team in the Power Rangers pantheon. This set finally puts a modern method on the table for collecting a full team in action figure form, making it a great option for Alien Ranger or Kaku Ranger fans. I actually am really happy to have this set. It's neat, it's tidy, apart from the obvious, it all matches, and yeah, I really actually recommend it. Simple as. Thank you everyone for watching Power Ranger Tube as ever. Thank you for the crazy response to that Morpher video, that just blew up, so naturally I'll carry on with an extra Ranger Morpher sequel to that at some stage as well. Just add it to the list, because the list is getting quite long. And yes, the people still asking for the Samurai Star Megazord review, I hear you. I apologise, it will happen. Thank you as well to everyone that supports me through Patreon, still adding exclusive content over there, so keep an eye on the community tab of the main channel to see what goes on there. So that's going to be it then for this one. Thank you very much guys for watching. Please like the video to help it in the algorithm. If the algorithm brought you here from watching the Morpher video, I hope you'll subscribe, and yeah, until the next time you guys, see you later.